The first rays of dawn painted the skies in a soft orange hue as the party began to stir. Their slumber had been fraught with nightmares, and waking up felt like emerging from a thick fog. Brom was the first to his feet, stretching his broad shoulders and grumbling about the hard ground. Lyria, still clutching the map she'd discovered the previous evening, quickly began gathering her belongings.
We have a long day ahead,
she noted.
and the Forest of Whispers won't wait.
Kai, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, glanced over to Sephyra.
Did you rest well, Dragon Lady?
He teased, though there was genuine concern in his eyes. Sephyra gave him a weary smile.
As well as one can, considering where we're headed. But it's our path, and we'll face it together.
The group made quick work of breakfast, rationing out dried meats and hard bread. As they ate, they discussed their plan.
We'll need to ensure we're adequately equipped,
Said Brom, pointing towards a small village on the map, just before the forest's entrance.
Might be a good place to stock up on supplies and gather some intel.
Kai nodded in agreement.
I've got a contact there, an old buddy from my, let's call them, mischievous days. He might have some useful information.
Lyria, ever the strategist, began listing essentials.
Rope, torches, extra food, and some local herbs. I've heard the forest has paths that can befuddle the senses. We might need something to keep our minds sharp.
The road to the village, bordered by rolling plains, seemed peaceful enough, with tall grass swaying gently in the breeze. But as the sun approached its zenith, the serenity was broken by a chilling howl. Another answered, then another, until the horizon echoed with their haunting song. From the edge of the plains, a pack of dire wolves, their fur mottled grey and eyes a piercing yellow, emerged. Their size was imposing, each one easily standing as tall as Brom at the shoulder. They moved with predatory grace, muscles rippling beneath their thick fur. Brom, ever the protective frontliner, hoisted his shield and drew his axe, positioning himself between the wolves and the party.
Stay close,
He bellowed. Lyria began chanting, her fingers dancing through the air, weaving intricate patterns. Drawing upon her knowledge of the arcane, she cast haste on Kai, whose already nimble form began to blur with speed. Kai, now buzzing with magical energy, knocked 2 arrows simultaneously, releasing them in rapid succession. One found its mark, embedding into a wolf's flank, causing it to yelp and falter. Sephyra raised her palms, invoking the power of her deity, and a radiant guiding bolt shot forth, striking another wolf and illuminating it with divine energy. This marked wolf now became an easier target, its form glowing and vulnerable. But the wolves were quick to retaliate. The leader of the pack, a particularly large specimen with a jagged scar running down its eye, lunged at Brom. Though his shield took the brunt of the attack, the sheer force knocked him off balance. Seeing Brom in peril, Lyria shifted her focus. With a whispered incantation, she summoned a spectral hand, illusion, that darted forward, drawing the attention of another wolf and leading it away from the fray. Kai, taking advantage of the glowing mark Sephyra placed on one of the wolves, circled to its flank, and with a swift leap enabled by Lyria's spell, drove his dagger deep into its side. The beast let out a mournful howl and collapsed. But the battle was far from over. 2 wolves, sensing an opening, pounced towards the distracted Lyria. Before they could reach her, the air around them crackled and vibrated as she cast Thunder Wave. A shock wave of force erupted from her, sending the wolves flying backward. Brom, recovering his stance, locked eyes with the scarred leader. With a primal roar, he swung his axe in a wide arc. The blade met the wolf's charge, stopping it dead in its tracks. A tense moment passed before the wolf crumpled, defeated. The remaining wolves, seeing their leader downed and outnumbered, began to retreat, their tails tucked and ears flattened. The party regrouped, catching their breaths and tending to their wounds. Their unity and understanding of each other's strengths had once again seen them through a perilous encounter. They continued their journey to the village, even more bonded and with tales of bravery to share. As they approached the village, they felt dozens of eyes on them. The residents were wary of outsiders, especially those who looked like they were headed to the forest. Sephyra suggested they split up. She and Kai would gather information and rendezvous with Lyria and Brom, who would handle supplies. In the village square, Kai led Sephyra to a quaint tavern. Inside, they found Kai's contact, a grizzled half-elf named Elandor. Over mugs of frothy ale, Elandor shared whispered tales of the forest.
There are creatures in there, not just of the body, but of the mind,
he warned.
Stay close, trust each other, and whatever you do, don't listen to the trees.
Meanwhile, Lyria and Brom made their way to the local apothecary. There they found a collection of rare herbs and concoctions. The old apothecary handed Lyria a vial filled with a shimmering liquid.
For when the whispers become too much,
she said cryptically. With supplies and information in hand, the group reconvened at the village's edge. The forest of whispers loomed in front of them, its trees casting long, dark shadows. Taking a deep breath, they stepped forward, ready to uncover the mysteries that lay within. As they journeyed deeper, the atmosphere grew denser and an eerie silence enveloped them. The trees seemed to close in, their leaves rustling with whispered secrets. The party knew that this was just the beginning of their adventure into the heart of the forest. But with every step, they drew strength from each other, holding on to their shared purpose and the hope that together they could face any challenge that lay ahead. The verdant expanse of the Forest of Whispers seemed endless, with colossal trees and the persistent, almost musical murmuring that filled the air. The soft, dappled light did little to alleviate the tension building within the group. The whispers grew louder, an almost coherent mesh of voices, sometimes begging, sometimes warning. Brom's hand tightened around the hilt of his axe, trying to focus on the path.
We should have packed earmuffs,
Kai remarked, but his attempt at humor was lost in the pressing atmosphere. Lyria, after a particularly frustrating loop, stopped in her tracks. Recalling the vial she'd been given earlier, she pulled it from her pouch. It was a small glass container containing a swirling luminescent blue liquid. The merchant had called it Elsight Elixir, rumored to amplify the senses of the imbiber to perceive hidden elvish magic. However, she wasn't entirely sure of its properties. Brom, noticing her hesitation, remarked,
You think that could help?
Lyria replied,
There's only one way to find out.
but before impulsively consuming it, she decided on a more cautious approach.
Sephyra, could you use the identify spell on this?
Sephyra nodded, drawing a simple rune in the air and touching the vial. She closed her eyes for a moment, then said,
It's as the merchant claimed. This elixir will heighten your elvish senses, allowing you to perceive hidden pathways and markings for a time. But its effects are temporary.
Taking a deep breath, Lyria uncorked the vial, letting the cool liquid cascade down her throat. Almost instantly, her vision sharpened, and the formerly indistinguishable whispers now sounded like gentle guidance. The markings on the trees, previously hidden, now glowed softly, revealing themselves as ancient elvish signposts. The group trudged deeper into the forest, the whispers weaving an almost palpable web around them. With Lyria's heightened senses leading the way, they threaded cautiously through the deceptive pathways, evading the snares of the whispering wilds. Suddenly, an ethereal glow tried to ensnare Kai's attention. As he started to veer off, Sephyra quickly uttered the words of protection from evil and good. The arcane barrier it created around Kai repulsed the deceptive allure of the wisp, and he regained his bearings. But respite was fleeting. The rustle of the underbrush heralded the emergence of vine blights, their twisted forms poised for attack. One of them entangled Brom, who strained against its constricting grip. Kai, seeing an opportunity, stealthily positioned himself behind it, executing a precise sneak attack, which caused the blight to release its captive. Yet the forest had more horrors in store. A heart-wrenching wail echoed, paralyzing the group with its mournful resonance. A banshee materialized, her sorrowful visage haunting and formidable. Sephyra, ever the beacon of hope, stepped forward, invoking her deity's power with turn undead. The banshee, however, resisted the initial compulsion. Lyria, focusing intently, casting magic missile. The banshee reeled from the magical assault, her form becoming more tenuous. Seizing the moment, Brom lunged with a mighty blow, while Kai, leveraging his rogue skills, danced around the banshee, finding weak points to exploit. Sephyra, with fervent prayers, channeled banishment, seeking to exorcise the tormented spirit from the realm. The spell took hold, and the Banshee, her form quivering under the divine onslaught, was banished, her wails fading into silence. The Vine Blights, witnessing the fall of their spectral ally, became more ferocious. Lyria, with her deep understanding of arcane arts, consulted her spellbook after casting Fairy Fire. Observing the Vine Blights in their luminous state, she recognized the necessity to exploit their vulnerabilities quickly. With a flourish of her wand and an utterance of an incantation, she conjured a magic missile, launching 3 darts of magical energy that sought out their targets unerringly. Each dart struck a Vine Blight, causing them to recoil in pain. Seeing an opportunity, Kai capitalized on the distracted state of one of the Blights, delivering a precise sneak attack with his dagger. The Blight, already weakened from Lyria's missile, crumbled to the ground. Broms, taking advantage of the illuminated Blights, swung his axe with renewed vigor, cutting down another. Sephyra, in tandem with Lyria's arcane assaults, called forth her spiritual weapon to deal further damage. The summoned mace, under her guidance, crashed into another Blight, breaking its wooden form. Feeling the tide of the battle turning in their favor, Lyria decided to deliver a finishing blow. Channeling her energy, she cast Burning Hands, sending a cone of searing flames towards the remaining Vindblates. The intense heat consumed them, leaving behind only ashes. With their foes defeated and the forest momentarily at peace, the party regrouped, preparing for the next challenge that the Forest of Whispers would undoubtedly present.